and welcome to a very, very warm Saturday Night Ladies. I am Deej Barons.
I am Shari Fesco.
And I'm Demi Constantine.
And we are your Saturday Night Ladies, where, at least where I'm podcasting in 79-degree Fahrenheit weather, and it's very uncomfortable, but we shall push through. We are talking about the latest episode of Saturday Night Live, back after a 2-week hiatus, which is season 51, episode 18, with double duty host Olivia Rodrigo. So let's get to talking about this so I can go back to the one room in my house that's air conditioned. Get your big dumb cup, put on your big dumb hat, and let's talk about Saturday Night Live. Take it away, Sherry.
Hello, everybody. And yes, let's dive in so we can get Deej back to her air conditioning. We're going to sweep right into cold open, and it is Hegseth and Patel Iran press briefing. We have Ashley as Carolyn Levitt introducing. She's just on for a hot second, and on comes Colin, and he's just on for a hot second, and then on comes Kash Patel, who's been in the news here in the U.S., apparently, and he's about to get dismissed, I think, from his post at the FBI. And who is he played by? None other than the fabulous Aziz Ansari, who I know is a bit polarizing for various reasons, but I think he's very funny. I've seen him live, and he's perfect here with the eyes and everything. And he is a rapid-fire joke smith. Like, he can fire the jokes like that, and he does it. And he's perfect in this role. I'm sure this won't be the last time we see him. I had heard something about Nish Kumar. I'm getting really into British comedians because I'm obsessed with a show called Taskmaster. If you haven't watched it, watch it at least once. A lot of connection with SNL UK. Really good. Anyways, Nish was there. He's very big in jolly old England, and he looks a lot like Kash as well. So I'm wondering if they'll use him in SNL UK. Thought maybe he'd show up here, but we got Aziz, which I had heard buzz about. And he does a great job. The reporters were all great. You know, I love me some Ben. He's always my favorite. But I thought everybody was on point. Sarah's great. He makes comments about, I don't know, Hegseth makes comments about her breasts, I think. And Sarah just delivers really perfectly. Like just totally disgusted. So everybody was on point here. I am going to have a hot take right now. Feel like this is one of my favorite cold opens of the season. I really liked it, maybe because it was a certain president free, whose name shall not be mentioned. I don't know. I really liked Aziz here. I always love Colin. I know on the SNN last night, people were getting a little Hegseth fatigue. I'm with Deej and Demi. Colin could do that all night long. Coming on with his booze and then giving it to Carolyn for the baby. I mean, he's great. And he's great with Aziz. They had a really good chemistry. So this was a huge thumbs up for me. This was a great way to start the night. If we've got to have a political cold open, I feel like, yeah, this was perfect. And I'll be interested to see what my cohorts think.
Well, that's my cue. Yes, Hegseth cold open, always gonna love it, because, I don't need that much Trump in my life. Nice surprise of Aziz as Kash Patel, and I can't help but wonder, why did the White House ever put out that portrait of Patel? Because this is their head of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and you want someone who's looking like that, the crazy eyes, like, what the hell? But then again, this is Trump's America, so things are just gonna happen. But yes, I love that he only had one drink, and it was a really, really huge drink. Kash Patel with Aziz, but he has the eyes, he has the delivery. Oh, the other thing I liked about this is did a nice variation of this is C-SPAN opening. You're watching A-SPAN of your life disappear. And Steve Higgins, absolutely perfect delivery, but I am not tired of Hegseth, mainly because every time there's a Hegseth, there's not a Trump.
It would be more frat boy, well, not of a frat boy that Jost plays as Hegseth, the happier I am, because it is way too close to real life. You've heard Hegseth give any pressers. It is extremely combative. It is very much blaming. It's almost exactly what you see SNL do. That's why it's so funny. The collective scream that erupted on Reddit and on in the audience a little bit was when Aziz showed up, was just like, oh my God. Like, I think everybody was like simultaneously psyched and remembering why maybe we haven't seen him, and then just being glad to see him. And just, there was just so much applause. And like, I was so, because Aziz, this is why diversity is important, because Kash Patel is Indian American and so is Aziz Ansari. So you can't really make fun of him, really, with just anyone. So the fact that they chose Aziz to do it was so perfect, because then you can just enjoy what they're going to do and not worry about racism or appropriation or Indian face or whatever the terminology is. You can just enjoy what he's doing, which was pretty much rapid fire, just like saying stupid things that are, really also match real life. So you could just fully enjoy it, which I did. Absolutely delicious. Great cold open. And I do watch C-SPAN on the reel, and I have C-SPAN merch, and I am not ashamed, but I can understand that there's a funny flip for the opening. So thumbs up for me.
All right. So I'm just going to run through the cast again. It was Colin and Ashley, Marcelo, Ben, Jeremy, Tommy, all reporters, Sarah, cameo by Aziz. So, wow, quite a star-studded with lots of cast. And I love it when they get as much of the cast in the cold open as possible. Boy, is Colin racking up the live from New York's too. Interesting. I'll be interested to see what Mike Murray has to say about that in his stat show. Colin's gone from like 0 to 60 and being in cold opens. I don't think he'd been in many, and now all of a sudden he's got just a flood of them. He may catch up with Jadge. Who knows? We're moving on to the monologue with Miss Olivia Rodrigo. Interesting, she didn't need any cast. I think she was a splendid host. I'm going to give a little early judgment. I thought she was quite splendid. I don't know that I'd say she's getting compared to Sabrina a lot, which I know it's unfair to compare, but they're both Disney girls. They're both pop stars. They're both around the same age. I think Sabrina's a bit older, but not much. They had a scandal. They shared the same boyfriend. I mean, there's a lot of history there. So it's not unusual that they're being compared. I do think Sabrina's got more comedy chops, but I think Olivia was doing her darndest. I think she was trying her very hardest, and I really enjoyed this monologue. I loved the flip on driver's license to real ID. She's a very talented young lady, as we'll talk about later when she does her musical guesting. And I thought this was a great way to open it. It didn't go too long, and it didn't go too short. I thought it was just right. And as Demi is our fashion consultant, but I'm going to say a little bit on the fashion. I thought Olivia looked gorgeous. She's a beautiful girl, and I love pink. That pink satin dress was giving me like really nice prom vibes, which is appropriate because it's prom season. So I thought she looked great. I thought she handled the monologue beautifully. She's 23 years old. Wow. The success that she's had and the way that she handles herself, that whole scandal that came out, I thought she handled herself beautifully, and she continues to handle herself beautifully. Demi's looking at me like she's not sure about the scandal. So way back when Driver's License came out, Olivia was dating the guy from High School Musical, whatever, the musical, blah, blah, blah. He ended up with Sabrina. I don't think they're together anymore. It was a big scandal. Sabrina's quite a bit older than him, blah, blah. Everybody had an opinion. It has since disappeared. The girls have no beef. They've never been nasty to each other. And I thought Olivia handled it very, very well, because they were dragging both women through the mud. And of course, the guy was getting away, kind of. I can't even remember the guy's name, but he sort of faded, and the two women are doing amazing. So there you go. This is all to say that Olivia is a class act. I think she's terrific. I think she's a good role model, and I think she does her very, very best with the comedy. Live comedy is the hardest thing to do, period. So yeah, we're off to a good start with this cold open and this monologue. Really rolling along nicely.
Yeah, it's a pretty traditional one where it's like, let's go through my resume for people who don't know me. Love the variation on the driver's license, but I'm sorry, nothing will ever beat Taylor Swift's This Is My SNL monologue. La la la, Ha ha ha. I love that one so much, but this one it's a close contender. Did like the reference to Jake Paul, who apparently back then and has fulfilled his wish of fighting old guys on Netflix. Not a outstanding, oh yes, memorable monologue, but she was very poised. She did a good job.
Yeah, I agree. She's a great performer. I've seen a couple of live streams of her concerts, and she knows how to put on a show. And she said she's a former Disney kid. Yeah, these Disney kids, they bring it. Ryan Gosling, Keke Palmer, Austin Butler, Ariana Grande, that I can think of. They bring it. They know what they're doing. They're professionals.
Brittany and Justin.
Well, I think both have done double duty. They just have it. I don't know what they learned, but they learned it, and that's how they professionally live. So I'm here for it.
Well, they do get a lot of media training when they're attached to a Disney studio. Now, granted, there are some people who have come out of the Disney system who have not had great continuations of life, but that's just the way it goes sometimes. Other people just have a better support system around them.
They are trained, and you can tell they're very trained. Yeah, the ones that are the Disney kids that host SNL, they know what they're doing.
And then, of course, Keenan was a Nickelodeon kid. So there you go. I mean, and it's the same kind of gauntlet they put you through. Like Deej says, they give you the media training. They make you very fast on your feet in any situation from a very young age. So kudos to young child actors who take it all the way through their adulthood, like a Justin Timberlake. Life's hard enough when you're a kid, but being a kid and with the spotlight in your face, cannot imagine. So kudos to them all. Many, many flowers to them all. And speaking of the spotlight, I know a lot of young actors get their start on soap operas, like a lot. And that's where we're starting tonight. There's a little Pluto, which there was a whole discussion on the SNN about Pluto and that it wasn't really used correctly here. I don't know. I've watched Pluto, but not a lot. But they don't usually have bumpers, I guess was the thing. But they do show old soaps, I believe. So it was accurate enough. SNL doesn't have to be perfectly accurate all the time. It's a comedy show. So we go to Edge of Destiny. And we see Olivia and Chloe on a stairway. Soap operas are very known for their stairways. This definitely smacks of Dynasty. Many of us noticed. I'm pretty sure Demi and I both noticed. And we're like, Dynasty, Dallas. And that's definitely what this is smacking of. Marcelo, Andrew, Mikey, Sarah, and Keenan all get in on the fun of getting foisted down the stairs. Oh, that looks like so much fun. I'm sure they didn't really do it. I'm sure it was like a dummy or something, but it sure was shot beautifully. And Keenan's got the tray of glasses that don't move as he's falling down the stairs. And, Olivia's going to end, she's the last one standing. She's going to inherit the mansion. Oh, no, because Keenan's going to push her down the stairs after she's been pushing everybody else, or not even pushing. They've just been falling. This is beginning the red letter day that Andrew Dismukes is having. Oh, he's in almost everything tonight, at least a little bit. And he's so funny, and he's one of my favorites falling down the stairs because he's so physical. It just makes me laugh. But everybody rocks here. Chloe is great in these diva roles, and she plays really well with Olivia. Again, I've got to make comments about the fashion, the hair, the makeup, those dresses. Very, very Dynasty Dallas. If you don't know Dynasty in Dallas, kids, look it up. It's all over YouTube, I'm sure. But yeah, it's that whole gaudy divas getting in big fights, and there's always money involved. And I think they nailed it. This was supposed to be from '83, which is right around when Dynasty and Dallas were at their prime. So I thought they just nailed the look. I thought they nailed the dialogue. I thought the physicality, like I said, especially of Andrew and Keenan, the way they threw themselves down the stairs and the way they shot it. And I loved at the end, and I thought of you, Deej, because I know we talk about Donna all the time, who takes the hosts around. I've been noticing Donna more and more. She's been grabbing them by the hand and just getting them to the next sketch. She's quite amazing. I really hope when she retires, she will look us up because I would love to have her and chat with her because she makes sure that these hosts get where they need to get and that they're dressed properly and that they're ready to go. So I'm happy we've gotten to see her in a couple of episodes grabbing the host. I really think she's getting a little more of her, little more shine or credit lately since the 50th when she got her little bit. And I'm really glad because she's been there like 30 years. And she's behind the scenes, but she's so important, like so many. So I thought that was a very fun bit at the end. And they show, I love how they, on SNL, they show those behind the scene things like them moving the staircase. So very cool. You know, this wasn't the best sketch of the night, but I thought it was a fun way to start. And I thought everybody was on point.
Yeah, it was really hard to tell how they did the stair thing. Are they using AI? I hope not using AI. Outgoing shot showing basically they're going on the floor and they're actually people moving, stagehands moving the staircase. It's nice to see those little behind the scenes things, especially since they probably thought people were going to wonder, how did they do that? And I'm pretty sure the reason they use Pluto, because Pluto is owned by Paramount, which is also connected to NBC. There's a lot of these channels around, like, Samsung TV, Pluto. It's a free ad-supported streaming television service. So they have a bunch of different theme channels. So if you want to just have a whole bunch of Three's Company on in the background, you can, but you can also search individual stuff on there. Tubi does the same thing. They have one section of that. There's a lot of great old stuff on Tubi. That perfect Linda Evans haircut on Sarah, and then they have a real dog, which later they switch out with the stuffed dog because you don't want to harm the cute little doggy. Very much perfect representation of those with Keenan getting his revenge at the end. That was so perfect.
Yeah, I love a soap opera sketch. I love it they use the really fuzzy lighting. It's a chance for the host to get really, really dramatic and goofy, like really campy. It's usually going to be fun no matter what it is because the entire point is overacting, so you almost can't screw it up. I think that was Kiki Palmer I really liked. I bought a lot of body doubles and throwing around and stuff. This was great. I really liked the sight gag or throwing people down the stairs and then you not knowing if it was really like, is that really them? Because they were moving, because at first I thought it was like a little miniature they were throwing, but then I was like, no, I think they're moving. What's going on? How is this happening? I actually was looking down, so I missed the zoom out, so I have to go back and check. Thought it was so fun. It was such a thin premise, but soap operas really also had thin premises. That's why those sketches are so fun to me. So just throwing people down the stairs. I don't even know what the plot was, but it did necessitate throwing people down the stairs realistically. Really appreciated the innovative prop comedy and set design of this piece for sure. Everyone looked great. Olivia Rodrigo just had super feathered out hair and was just hamming it up as the hammiest nighttime soap or whatever genre that is. Very, very soap opera. Big fan. I liked its placement in the beginning of the episode because of the ridiculousness and also Keenan winning at the end, ultimately and pushing Olivia down the stairs. Great work.
Yeah, that one was definitely prime time soap operas. So I'm going to guess you probably love The Californians.
Oh, that's correct.
From soap operas to shop TV. The pre-tape, My Room. This is a midnight matinee. Dan Bula joint. And this time it's a young lady singing about her room. And boy, the room is perfect. It's got that early, mid-2000s vibe. And Olivia's singing her little heart out. And then the turn comes. I thought the turn came really early this time. One of my little quibbles with it, find out that she's the human zoo and the bug planet. And the bugs are all looking at her. I mean, it's Dan Bula. He does these special effect extravaganzas to, beautifully. Everybody's comparing it to My Best Friend's House. And rightfully so. They're very similar. Pop stars singing about their idyllic environments, and then the turn comes. But in My Best Friend's House, the turn comes much later and it builds up. I don't think there's a lot of build up here. So I was a little disappointed. I just thought the joke came too soon, but it's so nifty to look at. And Olivia's great in here. And Mikey and Sarah and Jadge is hilarious. He gets dumped in to mate with her. I'm like, Judge is a lot older than her, but hey, I was surprised he was the one who was chosen, but it works. And he's great in his boxers, trying to get her to, get in the mood. And Olivia's like, no, thank you. And he ends up getting led by a bug man to his fate. And this is terrific to look at. I mean, visually, this is by far the best pre-tape of the night, for sure, visually. I mean, the effects are incredible. The bugs look real. So it's beautiful to look at. I didn't think they did enough with the song. This was well and good, and Dan Bula is very talented. So, yeah, this isn't a bad one to add to his stable, but certainly not my favorite.
See, I'm going to take on the complete flip side for me there. I still enjoyed the sketch, but I think the turn came exactly when it was needed because there's only so much you can sing about a room. It's the bulk of the premise. It didn't need that much setup. My best friend's house did need a bit more setup because of the nature of it. So I personally, I think it was just perfectly bang on where it's supposed to be. And Jadge getting basically mulched at the end, having part things covered where she's going to the bathroom and things like that. Yeah, so she seems content. I guess she's figured that, okay, I'm here, might as well make the best out of it. I was very happy to see the Dan Bula Midnight Matinee make its wonderful return.
I really liked it. It was very Twilight Zone, and I kind of think that that's a turn. Again, I thought it came well-timed because the sketch became kind of a social commentary, a little bit like John was saying, the SNN. And now the human is the exotic animal, and you can see how ridiculous this is when you assume that two animals in captivity are going to mate, and then you see who they picked for James Austin Johnson, much older, and, not looking like they're compatible. So they just dispensed with him. Fine, accepting in the world of the sketch that was created. I thought it was really novel, and I think the highlight was supposed to be how much effort they put into the bug costumes and the bug renderings. I don't know how they did that. I thought it was good and fitting for her. Very my best friend's house.
Well, we had a little bit of difference of opinion. I kind of like when that happens. We don't all have to think alike, so absolutely fantastic to look at. I'm not sure how they did the bugs either. I think they were some type of computer generated. We're off to a rockin' start. I think things pick up at the third sketch. And this is the second live sketch, which I wasn't so nuts about. It's Shop TV. Haven't loved this really since the first one. I didn't mind the second one with Adam Driver, but they've slowly been going downhill. And this one is the lava cake. And Olivia Rodrigo is the young entrepreneur who has the lava cake that looks like yet another inappropriate body orifice. The little lava cake hole looks like an anus. The looks of it is classic. And then they show one that's got steam coming out of it. I mean, visually, again, these are very funny. And Olivia is spot on, has this naive little baker. She does a beautiful job. And Mikey and Ashley, absolutely spot on as the QVC Shop TV hosts, just going way overboard and, being like, don't do a close-up. Please don't close it. And then poor Mikey has to put his finger in it. He pulls out the peanut butter. Very gross. And they play that to full effect. And then Jadge gets his little bit in here about his Nazareth high school religious bit before they get into Olivia. And that's quite funny. I wish they'd do a little more with him because he's really, really funny here. But yes, everybody does a great job. I just think this premise is thin. And it's getting thinner and thinner and thinner. It's not, I don't blame the actors. I don't even blame the writers. They're bringing back a premise that has worked. I get it, but I think hopefully this is the last one. Probably not. I'm sure there's many other body parts they could hit. So not much to say here. Like I said, things are going to get better for me in just a few minutes. So I'm willing to get through this one to get me into the funnier part of the evening, at least in my opinion.
Well, these sketches are always mostly about the reactions of the two hosts, in this case, Ashley and Mikey. Ashley is a total gem in this. She seems a little bit more forgiving. I can't remember if this was one where there was a bit of breaking as well. Just the fact that Mikey was wanting to put be respectful by putting his pinky in first. I do think this is probably going to be the last time we see this because I think they've run out of rude body parts. The star is the prop department. They did such a good job with this, and I didn't quite know where it was going. It was mostly just enjoying all the stuff that Mikey and and Ashley are doing his best, and Mikey too, because he does incredulous really, really well. He's the king of incredulity, as I think I've said before.
Even though these sketches are gross, because we've seen this, I think, like 5 or 6 times now, they're all gross, but the almost precision in which they are constructed, like, it follows a very predictable pattern, and the way that its parts are played, the incredulity and the willingness to go along with it, even though you know they're like, this is gross, I don't want to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway because we're on TV. I guess that's why the sketch works, because it's on TV, so they can't just stop and say this is gross because the show has to go on. So yeah, Mikey Day's like horrified disgust and surprise every time is funny, even though, oh my God, they had to stick the finger into the gut. It was so gross. It was so gross. So, but I didn't need to watch it to hear his recoiling, like, the absolute horror with what he's doing. Deej, for sure, the real star of this is the props department. Absolutely.
Now we're coming to what I feel is, like I said, the show picking up steam. This third sketch, My Ex, is Marcelo's birthday party, and he has invited a couple that wasn't together and then broke up before the party. And it's a little awkward. And Olivia is sitting with Tommy, and Ben is over at another table sitting with Ashley Padilla. Oh, she wears the best wigs. This wig is, I think, one of my favorite. It's perfect for this psychotic character. Olivia asks Tommy if he'll pretend to be her date and make Ben jealous. And then, of course, Ben asks Ashley, who is all too willing, even though she's she's older, but she's like, that's okay. That's okay. And then things continue to escalate. The escalation here is amazing. Just incredible. And this sketch is fantastic. I can see it's very relatable. Yes, Saturday Night Live always over exaggerates, but come on. This has happened probably in so many scenarios all over the world. Trying to make your ex-partner jealous, reeling somebody in. I think this happens, and I think it's very relatable. I think breakups are very hard, and that part was relatable. Olivia is terrific here. Tommy is very understated and just perfect here. And then there's Ashley. Everybody says it. We probably don't need to say it again. But this woman is willing to push the limits. If that means covering herself in mashed potatoes, I thought it was cake. Apparently it was mashed potatoes. And then she covers Ben in mashed potatoes. And then she's got Ben in a pink sweater with no shirt. And she is just totally, all the attention's on her, but, I love my Ben. And he is the perfect, I hope they do more sketches as a couple, because she's so much out there and Ben is so good at being sedate and just letting things happen to him. And him in that little pink sweater is probably my favorite moment of the night. It's just, it does not fit him. And it's so funny. And then Olivia and Tommy, are much more relaxed, much more subdued version. They're still working the angle, but in a much more subdued way. Ashley doesn't do subdued. So things just keep escalating and escalating and escalating until finally Olivia realizes she should have never left Ben. So they end up leaving together. And Ashley ends up with a consolation prize. And they talked a lot last night on the Saturday Night Network Hot Take Show about Keenan being the button a lot, or the capper, and whether that's good or bad. I think Keenan is the perfect. He caps a couple of sketches tonight, and I think it's perfect. He is amazing. He's been amazing for 23 years, and now they're going to him. It's much better than when they show the button of the stupid advertisement thing. I'd take Keenan any day. And I think him hitting on Ashley there at the end is the perfect way to end the sketch. This was terrific. No notes. I really enjoyed it. People also said Marcelo didn't get a lot to do. That's okay. I like seeing Marcelo take a back seat, be a little more low key. He doesn't always have to be, Mr. Run Around the Room. That's fun, but it's okay for him to be subdued. And people used to think he couldn't do it, but he obviously can, because he definitely took a back seat here, kind of rolling his eyes like, I'm supposed to be the one getting the attention. What's happening here? So this was really a lot of fun, and definitely the show's building momentum here. This sketch, I think, really upped the ante.
Another classic. Ashley goes unhinged in character. Perfect crazy fulcrum for the somewhat pseudo-reality around her. She is just fearless. She, like as you mentioned, Shari, she can get covered with mashed potatoes or have this really weird-ass haircut. No matter what, she'll just go into it. Kind of reminds me a little bit Chris Farley energy. He just put every bit of himself into it. And Ashley is very much the same way. I did love Ben playing against her, trying to run with it, and she's taking this on as this acting challenge. I did actually like the chemistry as well between Olivia and Tommy, because they actually were working pretty well off each other. I'm glad they ended up back together in the end. Ashley Unhinged is going to be always great, so yay for Ashley.
I did love this sketch, and I think someone in the chat or someone on Reddit was like, how can they not tell that like Ben's in like pain, like he's not. And it's like, if you've ever been around your ex, a recent ex at an event, and he's with a girl, like, you don't care what they're doing. It's more intimate, and it's like, how dare she? It doesn't matter if it's crazy, you're going to be jealous. So if you still have feelings. So it's like, you're blinded. That's how that works. That makes it very believable. And for anyone that read the New York Times article about the Padilla pause and how great Ashley Padilla is and Padilla fever, if they were watching SNL waiting for a sketch to see what the big deal is, I really hope they got the memo, because this was a perfect showcase for her sticking to a character of a random woman that is going to stand in and be Ben's girlfriend for show, except she's insane and doesn't know how to do it right. Is it okay that I've had a baby? But what? That's such a... I think it doesn't matter. Trying to be cute, putting food on each other's faces, and she is proclaiming they're going to get married. She's already pregnant. The way that she could take something on paper that would probably be not that funny with a lot of other people, that she could twist it and bend it to make it her own and unique and very funny and believable. It's a skill, it's an art, and she has it. The way that she was able to twist your sympathies, like, oh, do I feel bad for her? Am I on her side? Am I not on her side? Wait, I think she's crazy. Every sentence would like, may you decide, may you come to a different decision on who your sympathies went for. Like, oh no, Ben, you're in danger. Get out of there. She's crazy. I think I use Shari every time I see Ben with his shirt off. Shari's appreciating this. Well done. Keenan got the last word. I think Keenan has the button. Really is honestly justice, because he's been such an even keel on this show for decades that if they want to hand the ball to Keenan to run in for the touchdown with 1 yard left, give it to him every time. I'm not complaining. Who's complaining? They shouldn't be complaining. That's what I had to say about that. Over back to you, Shari or Deej, whoever.
Keenan's been there for 23 years, and he is the kind of person that I don't know him personally, but from what I've seen about him in his interviews and his personality and the audio version of his book, he doesn't have the ego to always want to be center stage. We got a lot of other people to get on the air. I'm sure he may be taking a little bit of a back seat to let them shine. And who knows also what else got cut that maybe was more in. But I really don't think that Keenan minds it, because always the thing with SNL where if people want to improve the sketch, they'll just put in Keenan reacts. If Keenan wants to come in and do the button, that's perfectly fine. He doesn't seem upset with it, and it's effective, and he's good at it. So let's roll with that.
Yes. Couldn't put it better myself, Deej. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And Keenan is a perfect button. And like I said, I'll take him any day to the those dumb ad buttons that they'll do to make it look like it was just an advertisement. Go to Keenan every time. I totally agree. It's time for the music. And it's Olivia again. Let's give double duty hosts their props. She has just done live comedy, and now here she is singing her little heart out. Whoever's dressing this young lady is on it because she looks fantastic in both her musical appearances. She's just so put together. And I love her band, and I love that her band is mostly female. I found that very cool. I liked the sets both times. The underground, they're supposed to be under the ground in the first song, which is Drop Dead. And she gets announced by one of the queens who we've talked about here on Saturday Night Ladies when we did our musical guest specials, the fabulous Deborah Harry. Wow, how cool to see her. I didn't quite recognize her at first, and then I'm like, oh my God, how do I not know that's Deborah Harry? Cool that she introduced Olivia. And like I said, Olivia and her band, I thought were fantastic. I enjoyed Drop Dead. I thought it was a nice little number and excellent job. Excellent energy level, despite the fact that she was being hauled around by Donna from sketch to sketch, stage to stage, kept her energy, both musical performances. The second one, Begged, she was introduced by Connor Story. I don't know their connection. I know they're around the same age. I don't know if they've been in things together, if they're just friends. I don't know, but how cool that he came to support her. I thought that was awesome. So very cool that they got some cool people to introduce. I thought that was pretty neat. And I thought everybody was very excited about Begged, because it was a song that I don't know if it's not been released. I don't know if it's going to be on the album, but there was a big deal about this being the first time it's ever been performed. So everybody was very excited about that. And it was also very catchy. And Olivia's energy, and this was toward the end of the night, and her energy was still up, and her band was terrific. So I enjoyed the music very much. I think it complemented the rest of the night and was this was just an excellent showcase for Olivia. And I do think, like Sabrina, our other double duty, she will be back. So yeah, thumbs up for me on the music.
When I saw Debbie Harry, I freaked because she is like total rock goddess to me. Her and Pat Benatar were huge influences on me as a kid in the late 70s, early 80s. Olivia's music is not exactly my type of music. She is obviously very talented. The sets and the band and everything was all well put together. I don't really have anything specifically on the songs, but for double duty, that's probably why she did a more low-key song at the end, just to kind of keep the energy up. One thing that always gets me with double duty episodes, because you always have that thing when you're watching the show, when the bumper comes on and it's the musical guest, you know, okay, the musical guest is up next. But when it's someone is double duty, you have no idea, except if you keep count of the sketches that came before it. And so, hey, yeah, her album's coming out in 2 weeks. So stuff is most likely going to be on the album. Who knows? Maybe Connor would just happen to be in town, happen to be watching SNL, and they said, hey, want to introduce musical guests? Hi, Editor Deeds popping in for a moment. That Connor Story was at the Met Gala that weekend, so likely why he was in New York. We now return you to the episode of Saturday Night Ladies, already in progress. In the past, they've done a lot of cast members, and sometimes the cast member in character, like I know member Stefan had introduced the musical guest at one point. Kind of nice to have these little surprise little bits in there for the introductions, so much appreciation.
I think it's kind of funny whenever they try to bet on who's going to be the one introducing them. But yeah, no, Begged is still on SNL on the YouTube. Chappell Rowan introduced, she did The Giver, and that was a premiere, and it was taken down immediately. Like, it did not make it to the next day because they took it down. I forget why, either the record company or something, but it took it down immediately, and they put it back up like a month later when Chappell Rowan put it on her own page. So I don't know what's going on there with the music rights, but Begged and Drop Dead are both still available on the YouTube SNL site. Yeah, no, great. I mean, the people in the SNN in the Hot Take show that's all they wanted to talk about was Olivia Rodrigo. So I did not want to talk about the episode. They were like, when are we going to talk about Olivia? So she has a huge fan base for the type of music that she's singing, and yeah, no, great stuff.
I do want to give a shout out to the musical guest of SNL UK this week, which was Meek.
Let's talk about it.
Meek, oh my God. As a plus-size woman, I appreciate that. This is me, but I'm hella talented. Very much like Lizzo. Meek, I am definitely looking into more of her music. Electronic type music, which I love. She has a female drummer, 2 females in the band, 2 males. That dress that she's wearing, she also performed, I think, on either Kimmel or Tonight Show, I can't remember which. I am in love with this woman now because seeing more pop plus size representation, and it's not just a token thing, she is genuinely freaking talented, and I am going to be probably listening to her a lot this week.
Same.
I'll look forward to that when I have my gigantic SNL UK-a-thon. I'm waiting until they're all out, then I'm going to watch everything. And I haven't been watching the SNL UK musical performances. I will watch Meek because she sounds amazing. So I'll look forward to that. But now we're sliding into more fantasticness. This is one of my favorite updates of the season, I think. And I'm going to let the lovely Deej take it away with her segment, What's Up with Update.
Okay, so I'm going to try to go a bit slower this time, not go so fast. It's just I have this damn problem with my brain going too fast for my mouth to follow. So here we go. Spirit Airlines permanently shuts down mid-flight. The airline stranded thousands of passengers that were stranded at airports with no employees manning any of the check-in desks. Spirit said they were proud they were still maintaining their normal level of service. The alleged correspondence dinner shooter took this selfie in his hotel room shortly before his assassination attempt, which he captioned, "Feel cute, might delete president." King Charles visited the U.S. to mark the 250th anniversary of American independence from British rule and to seek the release of a British hostage being held by an American terrorist. Cut to a picture of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. He also presented Donald Trump with the original bell from a British submarine and said, "Should you ever need us, just give us a ring." Or Trump could just call the guy saved in his phone as Andrew Island. And I'm going to go on a bit of an aside right now. We're going to have, this is a patented Deej Canadian moment. The comments, the things that Prince Charles was saying in reference to Canada, absolute perfect diplomatic answer with an undercurrent of, "You leave my Commonwealth country alone, bitch." At one point, obliquely referencing Trump's penchant for suggesting Canada could become the 51st state. In just a few weeks, the United States and Canada will be among those welcoming the world as hosts of the FIFA World Cup. So in one sense, Mr. President, as heads of states, we are joint hosts. I can only say, as the head of state for 5 competing countries, I will be watching the matches closely and with great enthusiasm. After all, we like favorable odds. He was commenting on the destruction of the East Wing. On this occasion, I cannot help noticing readjustments to the East Wing, Mr. President, following your visit to Windsor Castle last year. I'm sorry to say that we British, of course, made our own attempt at real estate redevelopment of the White House in 1814. Which is referring to what they call the War of 1812, actually happened in 1814. British troops in what is now Canada came down and burned down the White House. I gotta give it to our wonderful constitutional monarch, perfect commentary, and there's lots of countries in the Commonwealth have the royalty on their money. We have a royal representative, mostly ceremonial, but does actually come in handy one of these days. So while we still have our autonomy, it's nice to know that King Charles has our back. And end of Canadian moment. So back to the update. Pete Hegseth, seen right here after the bartender cut him off, testified before Congress when he revealed that the current estimate for the war in Iran was $25 billion a gallon. So, as Colin says, how has the war already cost $35 billion? Why are you bombing them with White House ballrooms? When I first saw this in the actual news, I'm going, oh, fuck you, Trump. State Department is introducing a special edition passport that features an image of Donald Trump. Trump, we do not need your face on everything. Stop it. So you always carry a reminder of why you fled the country. And I love the fact that the picture of Trump is apparently burning a hole in the Declaration of Independence. Very, very symbolic. A homeless man in Florida was arrested after trespassing on a yacht and saying he was holding it for his friend Donald Trump, as well as making other unbelievable claims like, "I was mayor of New York City." And I love how Che mentioned that he was doing an impression of Kate's impression of Giuliani. So nice little tribute there. I love Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I want her to be president someday. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez said it's possible that America has already had a gay president. And here's a guess. Maybe it's the one obsessed with ballrooms and the Village People. The next person to leave the Trump administration will be FBI Director Kash Patel. And honestly, Patel seems like he already has one eye out the door. Well, I don't always appreciate a stretch of a pun. I love the reactions after this. A woman accepted a bachelor challenge to touch a statue's genitals in Italy, and she has been charged with statutory rape. Gastroenterologists are now saying that people can avoid getting hemorrhoids if they just stop sitting on the toilet scrolling their phones. To which Colin goes, "No! Introduction of the first non-alcoholic bill from Coors Light 0.0, and their new slogan, get custody back." Finish that off. Police in Nebraska arrested a longtime sex offender known as the Cookie Monster, and after he was found naked in a boy's bedroom. Luckily, they got to him before he could go, mom. And that is what's up with update, parentheses, the stuff I liked. Close parentheses.
Thank you, Deej. Always a delightful part of our show. And those jokes, yeah, I can never remember them. So I'm so happy that you remind us of them because there was a lot of good ones last night. I'm going to talk about the correspondence because that's always my favorite part. And we had Alex Earl and Alex Cooper, one with an ALIX and one with an ALEX. And these are apparently real individuals, influencers, both blonde bombshells. At least that's what they were in the show, so I'm assuming. I'm not sure how accurate these impressions were. But they're apparently having a feud. And they come on to talk about that feud, and hilarity ensues. SNL's going hard for the young demographic tonight, which makes sense because they've got Olivia. They know they got the audience, and they're going to reel them in with bits like this. And I thought Veronica and Chloe were fantastic. They were completely over the top. I wish I need to go on and look these young ladies up because I'm sure that they did a great job of mimicking them. I was just really impressed with the chemistry between the two of them and how neither of them could really figure out what the feud was about, which I bet is the truth. I think it was Veronica, maybe it was Chloe. It was one or the other of them hit a note, and I just got major girl you don't want to have a conversation with at a party vibes. Like, she sounded exactly like her. I was like, whoa, but then it disappeared. So I think that was just a really quick little tribute. So nicely done to the Alexes, to Chloe and Veronica. Veronica had a great night tonight, and she does these dingbat roles so well. And again, gotta shout out the dresses tonight, beautiful. Both looked terrific. The wigs were great. Whole thing was funny. They were playing off of Che. Che was having a good old time here and getting dogged for a change instead of Colin. So I like that they were picking on him. This was great fun, and I thought handled very well, and I'm sure very relatable for many. And I very much enjoyed it, even though I didn't know that much about the background, but I didn't need to. It was funny, and they did a great job, and Che was getting picked on, and I love when Che gets picked on because I think Colin gets picked on a lot, and Colin gets a little bit here too with his Stanley Cup and his cell phone, and they shoot to him with his usual face,
that oh so punchable face.
So this was great fun. I enjoyed every bit of it.
Heard of the one who hosts a show called Call Me Daddy or something like that? She's had a lot of celebrity interviews, so I don't know about what they are, but I definitely felt Che as basically a stand-in for this. So that's the thing about SNL. There's a lot of different sketches. Not everyone's going to like every sketch. Not everyone's going to like every correspondence. And this is very current Gen Z coded, which I can kind of understand, but not completely. And you just have to realize that not everything has to relate to everybody. So that this is for the Gen Zs who know more about these ladies than probably most of us do, then that is perfectly fine. But both Chloe and Veronica look so beautiful. I almost thought they could do a version of the movie White Chicks, but they got that kind of vibe from them. It's like they could have been people, Fox News hosts, who knows? But adding in Colin at the end, with him totally getting out the cell phone and the Stanley Cup, that was just a perfect gapper. And the Che also going, where did that come from?
Yeah, I know of Call Her Daddy, but apparently I looked up both of them, and they are gorgeous, blonde, long-haired podcaster celebs are 25 and 30 years old, 31. I don't know what the feud was. The sketch was not for me, or this bit was not for me, but considering the demographic watching for Olivia, I think it makes perfect sense that they did it. And I kind of like it when SNL does something that I have no idea what it is, because that's how I learn. So I'm like, oh, this is Gen Z social media beef. And one of them, Alex Earl, the one with the I, Alex with an I, she 24 minutes ago said that she watched it and she was laughing. She was, quote, laughing. This is per E! News. So aces.
I really like it when people that are imitated can take a joke. I think, and somebody that young being able to handle this, that's awesome, because it's parody and it's funny. And you know, you're putting yourself out. This is one of the things you're going to have to deal with. You're going to get made fun of. Some people can handle it better than others. I'm looking at our president, who can't handle parody, but this young lady can. So kudos to her. Thanks for sharing that, Demi. I think, yeah, get used to it, because you're probably going to get made fun of throughout your career, and that's okay. If you're being talked about, all publicity is good publicity, right? That's what they say. So now I'm going to go on to our second correspondent of the night, or guest of the night. And this young man, this gentleman, is having a banner night. He's just had little bits and pieces, but he's been showing up a lot, and he's going to continue to show up toward the end. And I'm talking about good old Cam, and he is great here talking about Megan Thee Stallion's breakup with Clay, the basketball player. I have no idea who he is. Apparently he's a big star. Cam is putting in his 2 cents and his hopes that maybe Megan will be looking for a new suitor, to use an old lady word. And Cam is great here. He puts it all on the line. He says, I may not be better, but hey, I'm here and I'm funny. And I love the meta stuff where he talks about how he's not been in a lot of sketches, but he's finding his voice. I really enjoy when cast members do that. And he's very self-deprecating, Cam, and I like that. So this was a great bit. Kudos to Cam. He is going to show up in another sketch later where he's also doing some of that poking fun at himself. Kudos to him. He definitely gets thumbs up from me. And I think we're going to be seeing more of him in season 52. So yeah, he's been at the update desk a lot. I think this is his 3rd in a row. So yay, Cam.
The line of, he's not in many sketches, but he's doing okay. Some say he's finding his voice more every week. I love those meta moments. Although my ultimate favorite meta moment is the cold open. I can't remember who was the host, but this is way back in the episode era with Gary Kroger back in the locker rooms. Oh yeah, this is when Eddie Murphy was hosting. Gary Kroger was upset because his only sketch got cut. Some sort of he was dressed in some sort of camel costume, and how they're saying that his family's there, but they're all in Eddie Murphy's dressing room talking to him. So, and it ends with it as if he's going to be, unalive himself, but it basically just fake of with the little thing, the flag sticking out. I can't remember what it said on it, but I do love those meta moments. Another thing I love is when we get the cut to Wally on the credit cards, when we get the cut to Wally on the cue cards, and how Jay was saying, you don't know anything about Moulin Rouge because look, it's spelled phonetically. Good old Wally holding up the card. And one thing I do have to do one of these days is, Wally, you can get custom-made cue cards from Wally. One of these days I want to get one. I don't know what I'd have on it, but I definitely want to get one because Wally's another great SNL treasure.
because I looked into it a lot because I was on a real Wally kick a couple years ago. No, this was great. Klay Thompson is an idiot. Megan Thee Stallion was the first musical guest after COVID lockdown on SNL. She's also done double duty. She is funny. She is a force. She is beautiful. She has her bachelor's degree. She has everything. She's so great. Klay Thompson fumbled this big time, and I'm so glad that they gave the stage to Cam to come out and really shine and shoot a shot with Megan. That was so funny because the joke is he's out of her league. He knows it. We know it. Meg knows it. That's why it's funny. And I really thought he just did such a good job. And it's like he's reading the comments on Reddit. It's like he's reading the comments on, we're listening to what people say on the SNN Hot Take show. He's getting more of his voice every week. I was like, yes, we see you, Cam. You are, and we're happy for you. More of this, please. I thought this was great. Really, really great showcase for Cam. Really one of those things where like topicality meets talent. Just, I'm so glad that this was allowed to air and it wasn't cut. Great work. Big fan.
We're getting down to the last couple episode sketches and one pre-tape of the evening, and we're moving into Busted with Olivia, Marcelo, Jadge, Chloe, Jane. Not a lot of Jane tonight, but gosh darn it, when Jane comes in, she nails it. Of course, we have who else in here? Keenan, of course. Keenan's in this one too. So this was just a lot. This is a fun late night sketch. Reminiscent of a couple of R. Kelly songs. Thank you to the SNN for reminding me of Busted, which was an actual song about getting caught. But I enjoyed this one. I had forgotten about the Busted song with one of the Isleys. Who knew? I remember it. It was coming back to me after we got done with the Hot Take show. And, people popping out of closets. There's Jadge popping out. He was going to rob the place. And then Jadge's mistress. And then, of course, there's Jane, as I was talking about, popping up out of the couch. I think she steals the sketch. Jane does that. She appears and she steals the sketch.
One or two bits of Jane tonight, which is okay. I mean, she's not always going to have excessively good weeks, but the one part she had here was still great. I wouldn't have expected this from Marcelo. I think he has sung before, but you can't help but do the compare to Trapped in the Closet. But I just like everything about it. Jane coming out of the couch and everybody cheating with everybody. It's kind of I'm not sure I'd call it really a 10-to-1 kind of vibe, but on the whole, it still worked for me. There's not a lot I can really specifically say about it, but anytime Jane can just pop up and sing, I'm always going to love that.
Law was making the point during the Hot Take show that this was like a direct homage, ripoff, whatever, to the Isley Brothers song Busted, which it was. Like I didn't know that song existed, but it had like a male part saying like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and then the woman is singing, "I'm sorry too." It was almost exactly what the sketch was. So I'm sure it also borrowed from Trapped in the Closet, but yeah, that was a super specific reference to an Isley Brothers song. I was taken aback. I'm so glad SNL does that though, because someone knows and then they'll put it in the comments or they'll say it. It's like, no, this is a direct parody or homage to this. And it's like, oh my God, it just opens up like a new dimension. So I really love it when SNL does that. And I love it when somebody catches it, because without it, it would still be kind of a manic, funny sketch, because Jane followed her burglar husband because she thought he was cheating, and then he was with his mistress who was also in the whole thing is so ridiculous. So I'm glad that storyline played out like it did. And yeah, I'm just so glad that somebody identified what the inspiration was, because my God, I was shocked by how it's like, yeah, it's undeniable that it's like a direct send-up of that. And yeah, I just think that's great.
And into the last live sketch of the night, Rasta Driver. And everybody was excited about this on the Hot Takes last night because it was the return of classic Dismukes doing his random Rasta bit as the two bubble brain, drunken young ladies are in the back of the car, whether it's Uber, whatever, various driver service. And Andrew is the driver, and he breaks into this Rasta song as they're having their drunken moments in the back. I thought it was going to be about them, and then they throw it to Andrew. And they're like, what was that? And Andrew's convinced he's going to be the next big Rasta star, but he doesn't really want that. And the whole thing was perfect end of night live sketch. Nice little showcase for Veronica and Olivia, and great to see Andrew. He had to have a lot to do with the writing of this one. Nice little bow for the live sketches. And yes, definitely funny way to end the night.
Very, very, very Disnukes. Man, he has flow. I think he's taking inspiration from Shaggy, because I'm getting very Mr. Boombastic vibes from this. Be a little bit of Apache Indian, boom shakalaka, pulled it off so well. And the fact that he didn't realize he didn't realize he was actually doing it, or where it came from, or what had happened. And Olivia and Veronica, really great in sort of the back seat in the. I believe the other thing you're asking for, referred to as lift.
Yes, thank you. It was on the tip of my tongue.
Didn't overstay its welcome, and just Andrew's performance there with what he was doing. Not quite a Ross Trent, and yes, I still love Ross Trent to this day. And apparently Ross Trent is Rihanna approved.
Ross Trent is absolutely Rihanna approved. So what I love about sketches like this, and it's a very Disney sketch, is that Olivia Rodrigo, and I forget who played her girlfriend, pile into the ride share, and they're drunk, and they're talking about, like, oh, I can't believe I did that when I was drunk. They're like, oh my God, where's the sketch gonna go? And then when Andrew Dismukes just does like an impeccable, like 8 bars from like a Rasta song really, really well, you're like, oh man, what are they gonna do now to top that? But then he does it again, and you're like, oh no, the sketch is about that. It's so insane. The fact that I have the same information you have. Like, they're all like, what's happening? What? And like, he can't bear the burden of being a white Rasta star. It's just, it's so funny. He doesn't know what to do with this new life he now has, where he can't even handle the weight of being such a talented singer. All the Ross Trent references on Reddit and on the SNN Hot Take Show warmed my heart. I love Ross Trent so much. I've seen it a million times. Everything about it is funny to me. I knew guys like that in high school. It is very true to life. I did not know that it is referencing a lot of actual Rasta artists, and the references in that entire 2-minute thing, 1 minute 30. It's such a reference dense short. I had no idea, but I did know many guys like Ross Trent in high school. They really had no idea what they were talking about. Great construction. How did it end? I forget how it. Oh, they started dancing. They were just like, oh, I'll just give into it. But the music is that good, where that is a acceptable, if not optimal, ending. So
Veronica really did have a good episode this week. Yeah, she really did. So now we're coming to the close, and this is like the 4th episode where I thought it was done, and then all of a sudden something showed up. It was the Beastamorphs, which I thought was just an ad for something, and then this one shows up. And it's the home security ad, and they zoom in on Ben, and I'm looking at my husband going, is this an ad with Ben in it? What? Huh? No, it's an actual pre-tape. And this is the home security ad pre-tape. Veronica, Tommy, Ben, Olivia, boy, everybody's in this. Mikey, Jane, Sarah, Ashley, Andrew, Marcelo, Chloe, Jeremy, and Cam in this hilarious send-up where not only are you going to get security, but we're going to make it go viral. We all know this is aimed at that younger generation, but it's so true. Everybody wants to be viral. It's not just Gen Z. Everybody's looking for their ticket to fame, just like they always have, but now it's just changed from TV and movies to the internet. So I thought this was quite funny. I had to watch it twice because I did catch a lot of the jokes the first time. I didn't get the sidewalk thing. I sort of got it more the second time. But yeah, this is very entertaining, really well done. Like I said, I thought it was a real ad. So a great way to end the night. Great way to get a lot of cast in. Of course, Cam comes in with his crowd work and kills it. Very funny. Again, making fun of himself. So, yes, this was a fabulous way to end the evening.
This is very much up there with Broadview Security, which is showing various people breaking down the door of people she actually knows. Very nice modern take on things, because everyone, no matter what, everyone wants their 5, 10 seconds, 50 minutes of fame. Probably partly inspired by the podcast Doctor's Office, where you give the impression that they're on a podcast while they're actually doing male medical exams. So definitely right up there with Broadview Security. And I liked having Cam have his little thing there about there being distracted by a Cam Patterson crowd interaction. Definitely loved it. Yes, that is true.
No, yeah. The premise of this was the home security network, or the home security company, if there's a break-in, they will send TikTokers to your house immediately to interview the intruders, because the setup of the sketch was there had been closed-circuit television feed of a break-in, and something like hilarious happened. I forget what the thing happened, but the security footage went viral. So they'll dispatch TikTokers to your residence in the event of a break-in to interview the intruder, and then that will go viral, therefore alerting security what's going on, because the TikTokers want this fame so badly, which I was losing my mind. I thought it was so funny that was like, because like that is how social media works now. Like, I really wanted to denounce like amateur sleuths on TikTok, but they actually are finding people. They're solving cold cases. Like, these people are maniacs. So the fact that you would use that obsessiveness for good is so funny, because somebody would do that. I could totally see that happening. Like, what's going to happen? So the fact that they're using like a bunch of I guess that are like trendy TikTok questions, like gay son or thought daughter, like I guess that's a real thing that's happening on TikTok, and the fact that they were using it in a subway takes interview, which the real thing, or sidewalk takes in New York City, I think this guy does, where he like holds a Metro card and just interviews random people. I've seen a couple of them. They're very interesting. I haven't really gotten super into it because I think it is a TikTok thing and not like a YouTube thing, although he is on there for sure, and Instagram too. But I just thought it was so funny. And then they were showing Cameron Patterson doing crowd work, and then Cory Booker like in this dark bedroom trying to get seen, like trying to get the notoriety. And it was not actually Cory Booker. I looked it up. That I was crying. That was so funny. And then asking, I think that the button, so to speak, was like asking, when's the last time you had your a rim job or something? And Mikey Day's like, not in front. He's like, Target. It was so perfect. It was so perfect. It was so short, and it was business top to bottom. Absolutely loved it. I was screaming. It was I loved it so much. All right, yes, that is.
Oh, the other one I was trying to think of, it wasn't a home security ad. It was Thomas Pieper's Insurance. Yeah, you don't even have to pay for this. We're just there looking in on you.
That, and also, it's not quite the same, but when they did Doggy Rescue 3D, I forget, but it was like when Andy Sam trying to call 911 on a 911 app, but it just keeps giving me all these pop-ups for how to order ticket, like during the robbery. And I think of that sketch or that pre-tape all the time. It's so funny. Every time I get a pop-up, I actually think of that, which so it's every day. I like what SNL addresses new technology.
We're going to get Deej back to her air conditioning any minute now. We just need to wrap it up with our ratings. And does anybody have suggestions with what we're going to use for our rating scale tonight? I was thinking maybe volcano cakes.
I was thinking the same thing.
Perfect. Great minds here at SNL, ladies. Great minds.
So the rating will be the chocolate lava cakes.
I was 6.5 lava cakes last night, but I've been thinking, and I think I'm going to up it a little bit. And I should have upped it at our last episode. I think Coleman deserved a 7 too. So I'm going to up it for Olivia, because I thought everybody was giving their all. She was fantastic. I think the first part of the night was a little weak, but the last part of the night really amped it up. So 7 lava cakes for me. I feel like these last 3 episodes are all going to be pretty great. So we'll see how next week goes.
Yeah, I think for me it's more like a 6.9 lava cakes. It wasn't because it's you either you have a good it's like the first is like the what's the phrase I'm looking for? The center part seemed to be the best part. So it was like kind of started low, then once we got to the X's birthday sketch to the end of weekend update, but then it went back sort of down low again. So it's a bit uneven, but she's a very capable host. I can completely see her coming back. So very well done, Miss Olivia Rodrigo.
Oh, yeah. So I'm going to go with 8 lava cakes because I thought the innovation in the stairway sketch and the soap opera sketch, I like the social media security, safeguard security sketch, whatever that was called. I thought Olivia Rodrigo gave really good performances. I'm not like a super big fan of her or anything. Like I don't really know her very well, but I just thought she gave great performances. She has really good comedic timing. She's very professional, and she sang. I thought she did a really good performance. I like the sketch construction. Ashley Padilla is just such a filet mignon, honestly, of just the SNL cast. Just, oh my gosh, she's just so great. There was a lot of really good screen time. I'd be very interested to see by the numbers. I think maybe the only one that did not get a big slice was Jeremy, I think. I think it was a Tucker Carlson piece that got cut, which sucks, but luckily it's always going to be funny, so.
That made me so sad.
I know, Deej. People are like saying, what are we doing? What is this on Reddit? And people know exactly what they're referencing. It's so funny, but again, it will always be funny. So yeah, so I give it 8. I thought it was a really well produced and well executed show.
Okay, so that ends another episode. Next week we have the return of Matt Damon on May 9th. Very much looking forward to next week's SNL UK because we have the gorgeous, the talented, the epic Hannah Waddington as host. And I'm so looking forward to that. And it was always, for this week's episode, always nice to have a female host and at the same time, female musical guest. So that's all for today. Remember, although the world may seem pretty bleak, you must go forth and find the funny.
Funny is hope.
Saturday Night Ladies is a presentation of Wacky Notion Productions. Hosted by Deej Behrens, Shari Fesco, and Debbie Constantine. Recorded and edited by Deej Behrens. Off-week show research by Shari Fesco. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, just email SaturdayNightLadies1978@gmail.com. And as always, like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for listening.